interim city manager for the City of Opa-locka, and I'm very, very excited to have each and every one of you all here. So super, super excited that you came out. We want to reach out to the business community. So I'm from the private sector, so I understand what it's like to be on the other side, trying to get the city to work with you, trying to get the city to move your projects, trying to get the city to facilitate your business interests. So I see it as my duty to make your lives easier. One of the first things that I recognized when I took this role is that you all don't have a voice. There is no voice for businesses in the City of Opa-locka, and I want to change that. So I really appreciate you coming out. Really appreciate you being here, because it is the goal of the City of Opa-locka to support you. Your tax dollars support us. And so what a lot of people don't realize is that although I'm aware of some of our history, we are going in a new direction now. With the closing of the 2021 fiscal year for our annual financial reports, we were able to save and allocate $17 million. So despite some of the things that you've heard in the past, under my administration, Opa-locka is running very well, very smoothly, and fiscally responsible. We want to continue to move those savings forward all the way up into our current fiscal year. And I want to talk about some of the things that we're looking to do for our business community. So Opa-locka's residential base is about 16,400 with a square mileage of about 4.25 miles in size. So we're a very small city with a somewhat medium-sized density, but our average household income is about $32,000, right? So people don't think about Opa-locka when they're thinking about where they want to work, live, and do the business. So we need to change that narrative, and I see the business community, all you all that are in this room, as the key to doing that. So what are some of the things we're looking to do, right? The first, so that you can have a voice in the City of Opa-locka, I'm looking for the City of Opa-locka to fund the founding of the first Opa-locka Chamber of Commerce, so that you all can have an operation that you run that is actually funded by the city, will fund it initially, so that you can engage the things that you want. Because we're here today because two of the things that you've been talking to my office about forever has never gotten fixed. Right? One, how many of you are here because you've been told by the city you can't paint your business whatever color you want to paint it? All right, so I'm aware of that. How many of you are here because you've been told by the city you can't put up a certain sign for your business? Right. Okay, so that one seems to got a really big question. So yeah, we are aware. I think there's a celebrity walking in the room. So we are aware of some of the challenges that you all have faced running your businesses. So today, welcome. So today, we want to find out what colors that you would like to be able to paint your business, and I'm going to bring that as a resolution in tandem with one or few members of the commission, so we can get that changed. So you'll be able to paint your businesses the color that you want. The next thing, signage. We're going to have a big discussion about signage. I've heard the issues of, I want a sign like his, he can put it on this side of the road, I can be on that side of the road, I want an electric sign, I want a bigger sign. So we're going to get your feedback on signage. What kind of signage do you want to have? We'll take that feedback and get the laws changed there. So the laws should be reflective to facilitating you being a part of Opa-locka and not pushing you out or making it more difficult. Or as you all say, I'm being harassed by code enforcement. I've heard that one a dozen times too. And just for that, I just want you all to know we've officially changed the name from code enforcement to code compliance. So we're the friendlier, gentler City of Opa-locka. Okay? Now, why are you so important to me as a city manager? And why are you so important to the City of Opa-locka? While the Opa-locka is small in size and our average household income is low, the average city that has a residential base like Opa-locka of $16,000 brings in about $5 million of annual revenue from its tax base, right? Opa-locka last year we brought in $70 million, and we're looking to bring in $90 million, right? Miami-Dade County is one of the most robust counties in the entire United States. Opa-locka is the last place where you can get in.
That's right.
And I am using that to our advantage to drive up your property values and increase our income. I launched last year an affordable housing initiative, and under that affordable housing initiative, we're looking to bring in $320 million in projects right here in the next 18 months in the city of Opa-locka. So that means if you own a business, that if you own property, if you own a home, your business is going to flourish. Your property values are going to flourish. So now is a great time to own a business in the city of Opa-locka. It's a great time to own a home in Opa-locka. The other thing too, this is an affordable housing initiative which is going to have an average household income base of $60,000. So you're going to have more people to purchase your products and services that actually live in the city of Opa-locka. One of the things that it was important for us to address is our population base, which if you are following it, and I've seen that you guys are following this kind of thing, it's kind of flatlined between 16,100 to 16,400 for the last 5 years. It's kind of gone up and down, but it stayed in that area, which for a city is dead. Cities must be growing. Cities must be increasing in order to thrive and flourish. So launching this affordable housing initiative is going to bring about 1,500 new doors, 1,500 new families, which could look to 3,000 to 4,500 new residents to the city of Opa-locka, which will take our population, where it is now 16,400, to about 20,000. Right? Another thing too is that we're looking to do some annexation of areas that are adjoining to us and that are part of unincorporated Miami-Dade County. Many of them are already on our water and sewer system. They might as well just be paying taxes based to us to utilize those services fully and get a full complementary relationship. If that happens, we could increase our population up to perhaps even 50,000, which is a benchmark for what they are called recognized cities by the state, as far as funding and different things like that. So there are a lot of great things that we're working on and doing here in the city of Opa-locka. And again, you're a part of that conversation. This will be the first of many, as I hope that we can get together on a regular basis so you can communicate what it is that you need, challenges that you're having, things that we may want to change, ideas that you can give us to help grow the city, right? So I'm now going to turn it over to my assistant city manager, who's going to do a prayer for us, all right? Mr. Ellis?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Carrie P Foundation and the City of Opa-locka's event, our business assistant workshop. I'm going to do a very short prayer, and unless anybody like long prayers here? Okay, y'all we're going to do it. Let's do a very short prayer, but a blessed prayer. Amen. Father God, we honor you. Bow your heads, please, if you like to. Father God, we would like to honor you this morning, Lord God, for this opportunity to have this great event here in the city of Opa-locka. And Father God, we thank you for this great organization that's hosting it for us today, Lord God. And most of all, Lord God, we thank you for the city of Opa-locka. And Father God, we pray that every participant in this event today, Lord God, receives a message, Lord God, to bring about prosperity and wealth and greatness to their organization, to the vision that God has given them. We thank you and we honor you in our Father's name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis.
Yes, sir.
He comes from a long line of pastors, so I thought I would take advantage of that. So you have your agendas here. So these are the topics that we're going to be covering. We've got a pretty robust schedule. We're going to go through it as fast as we possibly can. First, we have up someone that is very near and dear to my heart, and the lady whose mother is the namesake of the place where we are, which is the Carrie Meek Foundation. Carrie Meek being a beacon here in the city of Opa-locka and for this community. We are honored to be in the facility that's named after her legacy. So I want to at this time introduce her daughter, who's going to tell you about the mission of the Carrie P Foundation, the things they're going to be doing in the community to help us, to help our businesses grow. Without further ado, please welcome Lucia Rayford of the Carrie P Foundation.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. stand on a whole lot of formality, so if you don't mind, I'll just stay right here if everybody can hear me, hear my voice. But I feel like I've been welcomed into my own house, because this is where we work every day and all day. But the Carrie P Foundation, as you may well know, is an organization that was created to carry on the legislative legacy of my mother, Congresswoman Carrie P. But if any of you knew her or knew of her, you would appreciate the fact that I'm really speaking the truth when I say it's a hell of a legacy to have gotten and to have the honor to move forward. What we do here is try to find creative ways to carry on her legacy in her 4 major legislative areas. Health, as you can see from the artwork around you, these paintings which we commissioned are reflective of the 4 pillars of the Carrie Meek Foundation. Health, of course she went to FAMU and was a biology major and a sports star. Housing, education, and economic and community development. Now, as a private foundation, we don't provide direct services. We do support those that do. We're a nonprofit organization. We've recently created a new nonprofit organization, Meek Mobilize Miami, that you'll be hearing more about, that is actually going to be doing direct services. So we have right now, our biggest project now is we've been contracted to do some grant making for Miami-Dade County. So we have the responsibility for spreading, I'm sorry to come back to you.
Oh, no.
$7.2 million in county funds to organizations that were competing in the space of an anti-maximum amount, which was $500,000. That grant or opportunity has closed. We're now evaluating, and we're about to name the organizations that will be awarded these funds. The funds were going to be issued in the area of re-entry to support citizens who are returning to society from incarceration, and their families and their children and their parents. You know, there's a whole ecosystem around the way we live that is not distinguished by anybody, no matter whether you're coming from prison, you're coming from your house. We have the same needs. And so supportive things are required in this circumstance if we want to be true to our commitment to making sure that people are productive citizens regardless of where they come from. Also, there's that's $1.67 million that'll be given out in the space of reentry. Another $1.67 million is also going to be awarded in the area of high-risk interventions. Credible citizens who have programming ideas that would be interruptive of the cycle of violence in certain communities. So we had teachers apply, hospitals, some really creative grant applications regarding high risk. And we also have another 1.6 in mental health and victim services, victim supports for people who've been impacted by gun violence, either victimized by it, perpetrated, or trying to create community protection against it. The biggest bucket of money, $2.2 million, is going to grassroots organizations, individuals, and small businesses who apply for funding because we did not want to leave anybody out. The county wanted us to just have nonprofits, but we of course included individuals, also small businesses who wanted to get in this battle. So we will have $2.2 million awarded to grassroots organizations, whether they're private individuals or nonprofit. It's a very, very robust program. It is our major initiative. We're also working in our pillar of education in AmeriCorps, working in early literacy in elementary schools in the north end of the county, central county, and South Dade. We're doing a lot of stuff that's coming up that I can't talk about right now because it's not, ready for public discussion. But the Carrie P Foundation is absolutely engaged with the community at the ground level. We know the big guys are going to get the money anyway. They don't need our help. So we are here to work with grassroots organizations, individuals, small businesses, and anybody who will come to the table and collaborate with us to get some things done. That's what we do. And welcome to our house.
I don't know about y'all, but I heard a lot of millions in there. Can the city get some of that money? I know you're here for them, but can the city get some
Too
of that
late, no.
money? All right, we can match now.
Yeah, but we were barred from municipalities.
Is that in the legislation?
Yes, it's in the referendum.
All right, just thought I'd ask. That's what I get paid for, I get to
And everything
ask.
else, right.
Well, y'all hit up for some money later, and then let me know how it goes. So they are going to be doing a lot of, she brought some very important points. They are going to be doing a lot of initiatives and a lot of things to make Opa-locka safe. And that has been a key point of mine as well as your city manager. So I want to tell you that the crime here in the city of Opa-locka is at a 10-year low. Yes. It's the lowest it's been in over 10 years. And actually, we've gone 50 days now without having an incident, a major crime incident, which is also a new benchmark for us as well. So we're doing everything we can to make a place where your business can thrive. So to talk a little bit about the safety in the city, I don't want to toot this home too much. I want to bring up our interim chief of police, Kenneth Ollie. All right.
Thank you. How's everybody doing today?
All right.
So, I've been in law enforcement for 33 years. I'm a retired Marine for many years as well. I want to come here and speak about my career path, where that path has led me, where I can serve, me and my officers can serve you better, the business community, and the city of Opa-locka. So, first of all, city manager is absolutely correct. It's been 50 days we haven't had a criminal action, a violent crime, where crime scene investigations has had to respond, and where our investigations have not proven fruitful. That's an incredible achievement, and it's only through the diligence and dedication of our officers that focus so much on the residents as well as our business community. We have many businessmen, business owners here that know me, that I've seen through my travels in the community, and I would love to engage with each and every one of you over the course of my tenure here. And as much as I'm allowed, the time I'm allowed, let's open this up to questions and answers, maybe just a few, and I can help you out. I want to ask you a question. So one of the things that I noticed when I first got here was that businesses had a lot of inside activity that led to a report of criminal activity, right? So let me give you, for example, a business opens up, they report a loss of $100,000 in property. We conduct an investigation. My investigators go out, they speak to the owners, they speak to the employees, and watch video surveillance cameras, right? Because that's very important to us. That gives us a lot of insight into what's going on in the business and how the crime occurred. That said, once we gather this data, we collect this information, our investigation now begins. One of the key things we find is that, I'm not saying you're not doing your due diligence in hiring, however, perhaps maybe a little bit better job can be done to hire and monitor, right, the employees. Sometimes it's outside entities, but when you have a fence, when you have positive security cameras, and you have 150 workers, somewhere along the line there may be a gap that can be exploited by one of your employees or by one of the external entities that comes in, the visitors, etc. So we're going to talk about our residents as well. Our residents go to you to purchase their goods and products. They go and they look and they observe and they see how you do. And you also look at how their homes are set up. Everybody has a camera, everybody has certain fences, securing the premises. There's always an ingress and an egress, right? Gates secured. I encourage you to make sure that that's what you're doing in your business when possible. If you don't have the surrounding areas to put a fence, then make sure your doors, your ingress to the business, and an external rear egress to allow for fire safety based on the law, right? Make sure those are secured effectively. Make sure you have an alarm system that is monitored, not just an alarm to show or video surveillance to say, oh, we have a video, because just having it serves no purpose. When a crime occurs and we come by and ask if we can have access to your video surveillance system, and you say, oh, it's just a show. Am I hitting a vein here? Am I hitting a vein? I mean, hey, listen. Reality is reality. I get it. But you need us. I need you, right? Make no bones about it. I can't do my work without your help, right? So get a video system, digital, data recorded, so that when my investigators come by and they ask for the link, or you provide the password, we have the ability to download this data, monitor it, view it, record it, identify clear facial recognition, right? And that only happens when it's a good quality system. Yes? That's important. Make that one of your hallmarks of your security for your business.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, having an existing system, I'm not sure how many cameras, maybe you have like 12 to 18 cameras.
Okay.
Is there a possibility for someone from your office to come by and maybe consult?
Great question. Absolutely 100%. Give them a call.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you, before the end of this presentation, I'm going to give you my number. Matter of fact, I'll give it to you now. Get a pen and pencil, pen and paper. 786.
Good. See, it's now roll call, Chief.
Apologize. No offense, please.
Have a pen and pencil. Do it now.
I didn't say do that.
Do push-ups.
786-351-7627. 786-351-7627. I am available 24 hours a day. My phone is always on. I'm always responsive. I recommend you send me a text first, because I get 100 calls a day from spam callers, the same calls you guys get. I get them also, and I do not, unless I know the number, I do not answer my phone on the first ring, right? Text me, say, hey, this is so-and-so from business entity XYZ. I have your number. I would like to speak with you, and I will call you back. If I don't know the number and I don't recognize the number, I probably won't call it back, unless you leave me a message that I'll answer and I'll listen to at the end of the day, because my city manager keeps me extremely busy. So I love this city, right? For 32 years operating in Miami-Dade County, I was in and out of Opa-locka on a regular, right? I was a homicide investigator, I was in robbery, I was in narcotics, over the course of my 32-year career, ending in homicide. And I can tell you that the city of Opa-locka used to be called, our nickname for it was Murder-locka. You guys been here long enough, you remember those days. I can tell you, when I arrived here in July of 2022, I was shocked the transition that had occurred over the course of years. This is no longer the Opa-locka of old. Now, as your sitting interim chief of police, I can tell you that that is only going to get better. Your city manager is fully supportive of police, and I'm looking forward to the support of the business community as we move forward, making the city safer. If you have any questions right now, a few minutes, I'll answer them.
I have a question.
Yeah.
In addition to putting up cameras that you might use to collect evidence, how else can the business community work with, and the right reverse, with the police department, with in the city of Opa-locka, not just to reduce crime, but to make sure there's a measure of safety? How can we be better partners with each other?
Partnership, great question. So our community policing unit is growing. We're going to be growing by 3 very shortly. We have 2 currently. However, my investigators are always out on the street. How do we help one another? Yes, the same way you got these flyers. We'll be coming to check your more. We'll be coming by check your cameras, check your doors, check your safety measures that you're implementing, right? They're going to be giving you advice and recommendations, right? I can tell you straight off the bat, how many people have businesses with glass doors? 1, 2, 3, 4, many of us, right? What do you think is important about those glass doors that would be of importance for a police investigation? Well, when somebody goes up, what's the first thing they do? They touch the door. I'm not saying every time somebody leaves, you go and clean the door, but most importantly, before you leave to lock up and go home, take a cloth, take some Windex, wipe it down, right? We cannot collect latent fingerprints on a messy door. It's extremely difficult. right? When you have overprinting and everybody's hands on it, it's a problem. It's a problem for us. Could we get a hit? Possibly. But how is that guy? If that were you, you would say, oh yeah, I'm going there all the time. That wasn't me, because I definitely go there. I go there to eat. I go there to buy whatever. So clean your doors inside and out on a regular, right? Make it harder for them to not be, as it were, easier for them to be identified by us as we conduct our investigations. Safety. Externally, keep your head on the swivel, right? Always looking as you're approaching your door, right? Know what's happening. Know who's regular in your environment, right? The neighbors, your neighboring businesses, look out for one another. Have their phone number. Hey man, I'm leaving, I'm shutting down. Everything okay with you? If you're not neighbors and partners in common, then you're really doing yourselves a disservice. Does that make sense? So we are out there and responsive to your needs, but our community policing unit and my investigators, we're also out there identifying the problems that may potentially, right, harm you, impact your business as you conduct business on a daily basis. So that said, ask the questions. Your business focused, you're focused on your profit margin and gaining business, your marketing, but how is that going to be impacted if you're not safe? And nobody's going to want to come to your business if, you know, a lot of things are going on around the community. We're conscious of that. My friend here had an incident that started, this is I think 2 months ago, where an incident happened about 3 blocks away at an apartment complex. It was a shooting. Had nothing to do with the city. It was all external bad actors coming into the city, right? Exited the community, rode down 135th Street, made a left on 42nd Avenue, right turn, bam. Remember that? We caught him. We got him in custody. But what was important was that his video system was so clear, we were able to identify the car, identify the tag, and we got him shortly thereafter. So I'm getting goose pimples thinking about it because, listen, these stars, this gold, and a quarter can't buy me a cup of coffee, right? I'm a cop's cop. This is what I do. This is my chosen profession. This is my passion. I protected this country for 32 years. I protected the county for 32 years. I'm going to do it for another 5 or 10 years.
Oh, okay. What do you drink? Because I
Hey, I'm only 30. I'm only 30. Right? So, God made me good. Yeah. So, I think an important factor to key in is whatever budget you have for safety and security, increase it by 10%. Just because. The ability that you have to protect your business and the external aspect, partner with one of your neighbors. Say, hey, I want to put a fence here, let's go have it. I did it in my community. My neighbor, we had wanted to put a privacy fence, but we have bordering properties. I said, hey man, this is going to cost $4,000. You put 2 out to 2. Why? Because it's servicing both of us, right? Think outside the box, because the box is so confining. And if you only think inside the box and you put your mindset outside the box, you're never going to have and achieve the levels of security and safety that you want, that I want. Right? I can't be with you 24 hours a day. I can't be with you all the time. But what I can do is be responsive to you and give you as many positive recommendations as possible. But if you don't follow those recommendations, okay? If there's no other questions, you haven't raised your hand, but thank you, God bless you, and I'm here. You have my hand.
Thank you, Chief. So we have an ongoing little rivalry there. And so, yeah, I'm a veteran of the United States Army. He's a veteran of the Marine Corps. So we do try to provide him with a little technical assistance. But he's absolutely correct. Under this administration, we have given more support to our police department than any other previous administration in the history of the city. So what does that look like? When I came on board, the City of Opa-locka had the lowest starting salary of all police officers in the state of Florida for cities larger than 15,000 people. Our starting salary was $38,000. So we're asking people to go out there in the City of Opa-locka and risk their lives for the same compensation they can get for running a Burger King, right? So that was something that we wanted to fix right away. So we immediately implemented a $10,000 salary increase across the board. Our now starting salary as an entry-level officer is $48,000. The average in Miami-Dade County is $50,000, so we're extremely competitive now. We purchased a whole new fleet of police vehicles, brand new police vehicles. When I came on board, you could actually, there were a couple of vehicles you could kind of do the Flintstone with. We've also implemented that's going to help all of us, just like Mr. Ramos did, put body cameras on all of our officers so that we also have some footage of all the activity as they're out in the street. And the most important thing that the chief mentioned that I want to piggyback on is community policing. So before everything was all blacked out, unmarked cars, and not really clear surveillance, what we are doing now, and what you'll see under this administration, under Chief Otley, is that we're now engaging you. You need to know his name. You need to have his telephone number. He needs to know your name. He needs to have your telephone number. So if anything happens, this is what the result is. He's able to call up a business and say, hey, call over to Romo's to see if we can get their footage. There's guys pass by his place and get the crime taken off the street immediately. So that's the kind of community policing that we want to have here in the City of Opa-locka. And to even further that, you know, in the United States, we have this incidence where, you know, unarmed minorities are being confronted by police officers and the outcomes are not well. What we have found is that when police officers recognize the residents, they recognize that it's Lewis, that was Annabelle's son off of 132nd Street. They recognize that that was Johnny, that was Sarah May's son off of 42nd Street. The outcomes are better. The outcomes are better. So that's another thing that we're doing. We're making sure that our police officers get to know not only our businesses, but our residences. So that conversation, rather than, if there is a conflict, that conversation turns out to be, you know, hey Lewis, you know your abuela would not want you out here acting in this way. You know, take your behind home before this turns into a different direction. So that can be a conversation rather than a confrontation. So we're doing a lot to make our city safer, and I'm really excited that you're here to hear about it and also be able to benefit from it, okay? Because, yes ma'am.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yes.
I want to make sure I ask this question. How do you and the chief think that we can be more openly supportive of the police? What can we do to support the police department?
Where you first at?
See, having worked in law enforcement myself for a minute, I know that it's more than money.
It is absolutely money. I'm going to defer to, and we've actually talked about that, but I'm going to defer to the chief and give him the floor, so because that's an excellent question. I wanted to answer seriously.
Thank you. We are beginning an initiative called Business Assisting Police. What that means is that is it going to take some funding? Yes. Nothing is for free, and we're going to be asking for your support. And in the future, in the near future, we'll be looking at creating a foundation similar to the Carrie P Foundation. But our focus is going to be on spending our dollars on police and how we impact the community. It's going to be a funding outside the city fund, and that is going to be very important to us. You'll become a member of this group of talented, industrious people that will want to contribute to your own safety and the safety of the community. And when that comes out to you in a flyer with an officer coming, shaking your hand and saying, hey, please help us out. We have participation in our local events, i.e. gun buyback, book bag giveaway, our Christmas toy drive for our children. How impactful can you be if you come out even with your name on a stand saying, we support, Romo supports the Christmas toy drive for the citizens and the children of Opa-locka. How important is that going to be for you? It also gives the residents an idea of who you are, and hey, why am I going to go to Miami Gardens, or why am I going to go to Hialeah or North Miami when I have
Down the street.
business down the street? That helps, that supports us. So I hope that answers your question. Be on the lookout because that and more is coming.
Chief, one question. How many officers do we have in the city of Opa-locka?
Great question. We currently have 47. Next fiscal year, we'll be at 50. And the fiscal year following that, we hope to be growing exponentially more depending on where we're at. And I'll defer to the city manager on that. However,
In your opinion, how many officers are required for Opa-locka? When you say this is a good amount of a number.
I don't make a phone call over Opa-locka.
I didn't.
I really understand. I lived in Opa-locka all my life.
That's not true. That's never true. That's absolutely not true. So anytime you hear that, that is absolutely true. Let me go back to your question. So, as I told you before, I'm a law enforcement officer, and for me, enough is never enough, right? If you give me, matter of fact, the city manager, I had this conversation last night. I said, give me what you got. I can make it work. And he said, you're always wanting more. And I do, because I only want it for the benefit of the city. But obviously, the manager is the one who guides and propels me into the path that the city is going, right? I can't answer that question. What's your name? Manny. I can't answer that question. Because you asked me, I'm biased. I'm biased towards my policemen. And I'm biased towards the city and the citizens, because I know what I do, right? You ask me, I'm gonna tell you, give me 100. And 100, I will give you, but is that even feasible?
But sometimes quantity doesn't mean it's quality.
Thank you.
You tell him, Manny.
No. Manny's preaching, but the quality of the training implemented, which is what the city manager is assisting me with right now, is why we don't need 100, right? It's why and the lowering of the crime rate is why we don't need 100, right? I come from Miami-Dade County, so I can call the major over in North Side or the major over in Northwest and say, I need a squad for 2 hours. Hey, Ken, no problem. All things within reason, right? The necessity and the need of officers in the community is always there. Visibility is always critical. We're bringing on our PSAs. The commission just voted to increase our PSAs to 5 from 2. That's going to be critical. Now you have visibility of, most people don't know the difference between a police car and a PSA car, except that the PSAs have yellow lights, police cars have red and blue, right? But visibility is key because they know that that person has a radio. They can see, they can observe what's going on. They will make the move to make the radio call. They'll call it out to us. Our office will be at 4.2 square miles, right? It takes us seconds to respond. And the response time is only getting better. They're only getting better. Because what do officers need? They need support, right? They need somebody to look them in the eye and say, hey, you can do this. And that's what we'll give them. So thank you for the question.
Sorry, I have one more point. And first of all, I acknowledge you and the city manager for the commitment.
Sure.
I hear it in your passion as you addressing the questions. And one thing you said earlier about partnering
Yes.
with the community. So I happen to own a multifamily community, and we have probably about 150 plus residents there, right? So we can create an opportunity where there's one action that has multiple results. So meaning that if there's the opportunity to partner with you and create meetings, sessions where you get to meet the residents and things of that nature, interact, perhaps that's an opportunity as well to create a relationship.
Randy, we do that. That's excellent thought process. We do that. We call them crime watch meetings. We have talks right with the community members, with those living in our apartments, in our community zones where they live. They ask questions. It's like a similar occasion like this. So yes, that always happens. Talking to them and advising them the same way we're advising you. We look forward to partnering with you and everyone else. And that's just all coming down the path.
Thank you, Chief. That was a great question about how we can partner together. So, as you can see, it's our relationships. Relationships are the most important thing. So, we want to continue to reach out. You have the Chief's contact information. You have my contact information. If you need any support with the running of your businesses, your license, your permits, have any questions, if you have any, get some free advice from our police department. Have them come out, look at your site, make recommendations as far as security equipment, and to assist you in keeping your businesses safe. I just want to also say, it should be acknowledged that what we're doing in the City of Opa-locka with our police force is with only, as the Chief said, 47 sworn officers. So that is again, kudos to the department with the efforts that they're doing. And that the strides that we're making. In addition, running a police department can be extremely expensive. He is always digging in my pockets, all the time, all the time. Which is why I try to dig in pockets when I can find them. So even though with 47 officers, our police department is like the second most expensive department in the city. Its total annual budget is $9.8 million. So it's a significant amount of money, and we do want to increase our police force. We want to do additional services. We want to have additional availability for our business community, which is the backbone of our city. So we are going to continue to grow our police department incrementally, to better support you in our services. Now we want to transition to our next speaker, who's a representative of the SBA, which I thought would be very, very important to have her here to Mr. Knowles is okay, all right. Yeah, so we're going to go with our SBA speaker, Ms. Althea Harris. I want to give her a warm welcome. She's going to talk about some of the things that
Wow, I don't know about you all, get out in the afternoon in like maybe 30 seconds. Wow, right?
Yeah.
I heard a lot already this morning, and I am so delighted to be here to hear what's happening in the City of Opa-locka. It's not, what do you call it? What it used to be called?
Murder.
Woo, not that anymore. And I'm excited to be in this space. I mean, to me, it's indicative of where this community is going, right? Not so focused on where we've been, but where we're going here in the City of Opa-locka. So I am just grateful, sir, to have been invited here today. Thank you for your service. I relate to you. My brother
Was a Marine.
no, was a police officer in Washington, D.C., our hometown. What a high-stress job. He's retired now. He lives in Southeast Asia with his new wife and child, and he's having a great time, which I'm happy for him, right? Sad for me because I don't see him anymore and much, but my brother earned his nice life now. And when I heard the question, how can we work better with police officers, I just wanted to suggest to you, making a suggestion, that you recognize that they're people, right? Are you a person? You look like a person, you sound like a person. Do you have feelings? Yeah. If I were to hurt you, would it hurt? I mean, like if I did something, would it hurt? If I cut you, would you bleed? Yeah. So I just want you to remember that they're people too. And not only are your police officers, your first responders, they go toward conflict. Maybe I'm running in the other direction. When you see people like footage on the news of like something happening, or take for example remember the summer of rioting that happened across the country? And I look at the footage of people and you can see that it's about to jump off. And I'm like watching the people watching, like, why are you standing there? I would be hightailing, no, because I'm not getting clipped by no stray bullets. I'm not getting knocked over and trampled. What are you doing? So I'm amazed at the people who stand and watch. I'm grateful for the people who engage and solve the problem. So just remember, I know. Yeah, I know. I don't want to be stopped either when I was speaking. And I'm angry. But you know what? I'm angry at me, but I take it out on them, right? So try to remember not to do that. It's stopping you because there was something about you that got their attention. Maybe it was the speeding, maybe it didn't come to a full stop, you were zipping through that, school zone. It's hard to go down at 15 miles an hour, right? After you've been boogieing at 45. I'm just saying. Just please remember they're people too. And that what they're doing in the main, right? Now we're not talking about the odd bad apple, we're talking about in the aggregate. They're trying to do a good job for you. Keep your community safe. And so thank you very much for what you do. And I just wanted to put that out there because I relate. My brother's such a great guy. And just people over the years treated him like crap. He's just trying to do his job, right? Anyway, sorry. Okay, that was I'm Althea Harris, and I work at the Small Business Administration. Will you try to go to the next slide? We're celebrating 70 years. SBA is 70 as of July 30th, and we've been empowering the American dream ever since. Next slide, please. Okay, I like this little thing, so if you don't mind, it's only a few seconds. Uh-oh, no sound?
But I think he turned it down.
Oh yeah, can you? Okay, so I just thought I'd share a little bit about me. I've been in federal service for 30 years. I, like the chief, started young. And I've been, SBA is my third federal agency. I'm originally from Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. I went to Howard University.
Here.
Woo woo. And I went to UM Law School, but obviously I don't practice. I'm on church, Christ Journey, and at Greater Miami Youth for Christ. And I like to read. I like to pull weeds in my backyard. I really should update this slide because it claims I'm into fitness, which, COVID-30 is real. And please take a note of my email address. That's my family. I've been married to the wonderful Mr. Robert Harris for going on, I think it's 27 years. We're going to celebrate our anniversary next month, so I'm not really sure. It could be 27 now or 28. I'm not sure how to do the math. Those are our 4 children. That photo is actually old. I am now the shortest person in my house. I had it, right? Look, see? Right? I'm kind of there. Okay, all of them are taller than me now. The youngest is, he'll be 14 next month. And the son over there on the right, he's 6'3". The little girl, she's like 5'9". Yeah, I mean, it's great. And sadly, my beautiful dog died this year, heartbreaking. He was my running partner, so la-di-da. So that's a little bit about me. Please do take down my email address if you need me. Please reach out to me. Again, 70 years, 7 decades of serving small businesses. Next slide. Keep going past this one. Okay, so I like to just share what was happening in the 1950s. I wasn't there, right? But, fashion was great. A-line skirts and dresses. Brown versus the Board of Education dropped off. I Love Lucy was on TV. Color came to television, believe it or not. Rosa Parks in the 1950s kicked off the civil rights movement in a very grand way. Jonas Salk introduced the polio vaccine. Polio had been a real problem for everyone. Queen Elizabeth, who just recently died, she was crowned queen, and the Korean War was happening. All of that in the 1950s and more. And if you go to the next slide, Congress recognized the value of small businesses and their contribution to the Korean War effort. It has been said, and you know this, and you've heard this quote, just say it again, small businesses are truly the engine, the backbone of our economy. How do I know? Because I've been at SBA for 23 years. In 2008, when we did that whole recession thing, right, because of the foolishness that had been happening in the housing market and the housing lending market, people were laid off, businesses shut down, and the economy took a turn downward. But you know what? Small businesses rallied, and you know what? We're seeing that now. Since the pandemic, there has been tremendous small business growth in our state. Obviously, people are moving here, right, from other states that aren't as awesome as Florida, right? They don't have the weather we have. And we're seeing people start businesses and grow businesses at a record rate. And it's small businesses that create jobs, right? So if I dream up, even if it's a side hustle, I'm my first employee. Next slide, please. So Congress passed the Small Business Act in 1953. The president at the time was Ike, and the big campaign slogan at the time was I likes, and I said small business. The prosperity of our small business enterprises is an indispensable element in the maintenance of our economic strength, is what he said in his State of the Union address in 1955, and he made a commitment that will continue to help small businesses obtain access to adequate financing and competent counsel, and that's what we still do today at the SBA. And then I want to mention this last one about making sure the small businesses have fair opportunity to compete for federal contracts, and that's huge in the SBA. Can you see what the next slide is? Okay, great. So I'm almost done because I got the Sandman, hook coming after me. But the Small Business Act of 1953 included a provision to help small businesses with the know-how of small business ownership. So even as I heard the chief talking about you should have security measures in place for your business, immediately I thought, well, how would I do that, right? Thank God they're willing to come and talk to you about it. But there's so much. I'm getting bumped by Eric Knowles. That's who I gotta rush for? Okay, all right, I'm gonna rush. So good to see you, Eric.
Good to see you.
All right, so, and then part of it is, well, how am I gonna finance that, right? That high quality video that you've got that's so awesome that they could rely on, So listen, if that's something you're thinking about, you should definitely take up the chief on his offer to come out. You should meet this gentleman to find out what system he has. You should find out who the rest of you are here in this room. Maybe you're gonna use the same company he used. Maybe you're not. Maybe you are the company he used in this room. So you should be following up, right, on what the chief is talking about. But there's so much to know in business ownership. How do I know? Because my husband owns his own law practice. I know, it's hard. My husband, I think, is, what year is this? 23? Yeah, he's 27 years in his practice. It's hard. And I know, because I'm right there hearing about it, right? There's so much to do. So much to do all at the same time. How do you manage that? How do you establish priorities in your business? Sometimes you're too close to your business to really be able to pull back and say, okay, so these are our resource partners who can help you at no cost to you because it's funded by taxpayers, which you are, right? The SBDC here in Dade County is the #1 SBDC in the entire nation this year, right now. The one at FIU is the #1 SBDC in the nation. I'm happy to tell you that the Broward SCORE chapter is the #1 SCORE chapter in the nation right now. And there are hundreds of chapters, okay? For veterans, we have the Veterans Business Outreach Centers who provide access to all kinds of knowledge, financing. The Women's Business Centers, the closest one to us now is in Palm Beach. But, you know, I always try to look for the bright side of things, right? So the pandemic was awful! And we're still feeling the repercussions of that, right? Even if you, like I thought I was okay during the pandemic, you know, working from home and stuff. But I also had, as you may have noticed, 4 children who were also at home, dragging on the Wi-Fi to go to school. Dog over there in the corner, you know. And let's see, the pandemic started, what, say 3 years ago? So my current 13-year-old was 10. He had no respect for the fact that I was in the laundry room doing webinars, right? He would come in. The mental toll. And you all went through that too. But my paycheck kept coming every 2 weeks, no problem. But it was a different kind of stress. And you all are responsible for the lives of other people. It's a lot of stress. So I just want to encourage you to get some of this help that's available to you. Our priorities for 2023, which we will roll over into our new fiscal year, which starts in October, is #1, we want to increase the financial literacy of small business owners. Because one of the things that happened through the pandemic was, did anybody here get any of the help that SBA, the financial help that SBA had during the COVID, PPP, the EIDL? Yes, great. Thank God. So many could not because they didn't have what they needed. They didn't have financial statements. They didn't have their tax returns done, etc. We want to increase the financial literacy of small business owners, and so that's what we're working on as a priority, and access to capital, access to contracting in the federal marketplace with certifications. Hey, partner. And we're doing it through partnerships, right? Like being here today, City of Opa-locka, delighted to be here. Because we know we can't do it alone, and I think you already know you can't do it alone, right? Even the chief said, make sure you know your neighbor, right? Working together, we're gonna succeed together. So these are our partners who can help you. I told you they're hot, and you're part of that too, as the Community Navigator pilot program. The Chamber is a part of it. There's a whole cadre of resources in this community. I mean, this is a kicked up community for small business owners. So I'm getting the boot. I'll still be here when he leaves, okay? Thank you. Go ahead, do your thing. I'll be here. I'm gonna go sit down. Thank you.
I know she was amazing. I'm Eric Knowles. I'm the president of Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here to talk to you about chambers. And I've been talking to the city. Lucia, thank you for having me. Greg, thank you for having me here. There's actually 2 events going on now. I just left an event, and there's another event in Miami Gardens that I'm supposed to be on the panel. And Greg called me, where are you? So I just sped down here, and I got to speed back up to Miami Gardens. But the Chamber's been around for 50 years. Actually, we celebrate our 50th year next year. I've been running the Chamber for 10 years. Althea is a big partner in what we do each and every day. Our mission is to provide economic and social transformation in our community. How do we do that? As Althea said, we partner. We don't do it. A lot of stuff that we do, as I always say, we connect the dots. And I'm here to talk to you about what a chamber is and why you should be a part of a chamber, why you should have a chamber.
the Miami, there are a multiplicity of chambers throughout the world. There's the Greater Miami Chamber, who we call the grandfather. It's been there probably, how old is the city of Miami? 120 years old, something like that. So it's roughly that. There's a Hispanic Chamber, there's a Haitian American Chamber, there's the Biscayne, Key Biscayne Chamber, Chamber South, and it goes on and on and on, number of chambers. We are the chamber that focuses on black business, minorities, and women. In 1974, here you are in 2023, the black business community is still fighting for opportunities, and that's why the chamber was formed in 1974, because of lack of opportunities. Black businesses, minorities receive less than 2% of, say, Dade County's budget when it comes to procurement, less than 2%. They're doing a disparity study. They had things in place that corrected that, but then the judge threw it out, and so now there has to be a disparity study to declare, to prove that there is a disparity that we already know. So Chamber has a board of directors. Myself, I'm the president. I said I am the head bottle washer. Keep things clean. I have a CFO, Beverly James. She's been there since she finished college. She's been there 30-something years. She makes sure all the paperwork, all the business. We have grants. We get grants from the county. We get grants. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna jump around a little bit because that's how my brain works. Thinking about Althea, pandemic, as she was talking about the pandemic. We helped our businesses. We were Zooming. Everybody's Zooming now, right? Nobody knew. Some of us knew about Zoom before that, but most of us didn't know about Zoom. So during the pandemic, when it first kicked off, we were Zooming each and every day, providing information on providing technical assistance to our members and non-members. I was on the Mayor Suarez's task force, Jimenez, excuse me, I said Suarez, the county mayor, figuring out what we were going to do. We didn't know what we were going to do. Businesses were being shut down. Restaurants were told that they can work 50%, they can open 50% inside, or 25%, or 100% outside. So if you didn't have an outside area, restaurants opened up outside areas. Miami Beach, they shut down the Ocean Drive and pushed more tables outside. So those were the things that we were sitting in there doing for your business, to help you keep your business open. The one thing that Althea and I talked about, a lot of people didn't want to apply for PPP. A lot of people didn't want to apply for EIDL. I made people apply for EIDL. What's it, 1%, 2%?
Less than 3.
Less than 3%, up to how much?
Simple interest over 30 years.
30 years, up to what, $500,000, $1 million?
Well, no.
More than that. And people didn't want, where can you get that kind of money?
Nowhere.
So we, as a chamber, were fighting, telling people, you need to apply. I had doctors who didn't, they're a doctor, they're probably pretty good. They thank me every day for the fact that we made them apply for that EIDL and the PPP. PPP was forgiven, right? And why was it forgiven? Because you had your paperwork together. You couldn't get the PPP or EIDL if you didn't have your proper tax returns, and if you weren't registered with the county, if you weren't registered with the state. You may have opened your business a couple years ago, but then you didn't pay your operating taxes. Exactly, you didn't pay your taxes, so you're not in business. When they look it up, you're not in business. If you are in the municipality, you're in the county, you got your county taxes that you're paying, but you're not paying municipality taxes, so you're not in business. So a lot of people did not make it through in terms of getting PPP or EIDL because of not having those things together. So that's what we do. We provide technical assistance, as Althea said. We're part of SBDC Spokes program. You familiar with SBDC?
No.
They've been around forever. They're at FIU. They will teach you how to start a business from the beginning to the end, how to grow your business, and it's all free. So again, that's what we do as a chamber. Chamber We have a board of directors. They're my boss. I run the chamber. They don't. Board of directors don't run the chamber. They make sure I keep the dishes clean, and I report to them. We meet once a month. We have bylaws. We are a 501c6. When we were formed in '74, we should have been a 501c4 instead of a 501c6. 501c6 is like lawyers associations, nurses associations, but back then, I guess they didn't know, we should have been, obviously you know what a 501c3 is, right? Nonprofit. 501c4 is a nonprofit, 501c6 is a nonprofit, but you can't claim, if someone gives you a gift, you can't claim, they can't claim the exemption on a 501c4 or a 6. But we have a 501c3 that you can make a donation to as well. But 4 or 6, you can't claim anything. So if you're going to form a chamber, it should be under a 4, okay? And then you also open a 501c3 so that you can get these donations, so on and so forth. You still can get donations through a 4 or 6, but that's a whole nother story. We have, as I said, we provide technical assistance. We help businesses, or at least direct them on how to get certified with the county, how to get certified with the school board. We have a number of events. How do we keep our doors open? It isn't through membership. Our membership runs like this. A person who wants to support the chamber, they don't own a business, you can be a member for $175. Nonprofits is $175. A business 1 to 9 employees, it is $275 a year. This is all a year, okay? It's not monthly, so that's what, $20 a month. And then 10 employees or more, it's $375 a year. And then we have what we call trustees. Trustees are large corporations who, as I say, they want to be a good corporate citizen and want to do more and be more engaged. We have 3 levels of trustees, 1,500, 3,000, and 5,000. So that's the membership. And the one thing about membership, people join the chamber and they think, well, all of a sudden, as I say, manna is going to fall from the sky. I'm not going to make you money. I'm going to help you learn how to go get some money. But you're not joining the chamber isn't going to make you money. It's about being engaged. Chambers grow from committees. We have an advocacy committee. We have a construction committee. We have a membership committee. We have a health committee. And women's business council, women's committee. And that's how you grow and that's how you get engaged with the chamber, by being a part of a committee. Just like churches. Churches have committees. Other organizations have committees, and the committees are the driving force which really propels the chamber forward. Going back to membership, I was just talking to the president of the Greater Miami, Alfred Sanchez. Chambers, we probably, in terms of retention, it's probably around 50% or less sometimes, 50 to 60% that people stay a member because they joined and said they didn't get anything out of it. But in life, we know if you don't put something into it, what are you going to get out? Nothing. Okay? So it's about being engaged. Through that, we have how we raise our money. My budget, we, for the first time last year, got to $1 million in terms of a gross annual income that we bring in. How do we do that? I have events. I have my symposium and business leaders lunch the first of the year around March, in which I bring in speakers on different particular topics. This past year it was about logistics. Obviously Opa-locka is all about logistics, right? So we had the airport, we had the seaport, we had Amazon, we had Brightline, and I can't remember the other, but they were there to talk to you about logistics. The year before, I can't remember what we had, but we had someone significant to come in and talk to our members. And so we raised money that way. And then Althea just mentioned our Women's Business Council. That focuses on women. They have an event in July called Women, Wisdom, and Wealth. They about 400, 500 women come together. They bring in a speaker from around the country, a woman who's significant in her particular business, and they talk about business there. That's our second event. Our third event is our golf tournament. Anyone play golf? Any golf? Got a golf? Got a golf. A lot of business is done on the golf course. A lot of it. You got an opportunity to keep someone tied up for 4 hours in a golf cart, and you can talk business all day. So we have that in October. We have our biggest event in December, which is our gala. And this year, our gala chairperson is the honorary Daniela Levine Cava. And our honorary chairperson, their responsibility is to help raise money, to bring money for that particular event. We're honoring Chairman Oliver Gilbert. We're giving him the Citizen of the Year Award. We're honoring Wendy Kalergis. She's getting a Distinguished Service Award. She is the president of the Greater Miami and Beaches Hotel Association. We are honoring, we have what we call the David Fincher Young Achiever Award. There's some young ladies, the Stirrups. They are like, they've created this hair product line, and they're on TV now, pitching and so on and so forth, so we're recognizing them. David Fincher was the founder of the chamber back in 1974, and last year we started what we call the Jason Jenkins Unsung Hero Award. We know who Jason Jenkins was? Anybody?
The Dolphins.
With the Miami Dolphins. He did community relations, and actually I used to work for the Dolphins. I used to work for the Marlins as well. That's the '97 World Series ring. And so I was with the Dolphins for 15 years, worked with Wayne Heising. And so Leroy Jones is receiving the Jason Jenkins Unsung Hero Award. That event, when we do it right, our biggest year we netted $300,000. Golf tournament, maybe 20, 30, and the symposium, maybe 60. So that's the bulk of our money besides the membership, but also, as I mentioned, the SBDC. That's a grant. We get a grant from the county to do technical assistance. We got a grant from Miami Foundation to provide technical assistance also. So that's what helps create that $1 million budget. And that's really what chambers are, to bring businesses together. And the thing about a chamber, I'm working for you. I'm out there connecting the dots. I'm out there lobbying for you, looking for opportunities while you're working. So a lot of times you say, well, how am I going to go to a chamber meeting? How am I going to go to this event? How am I going to go to that event? A lot of times you don't have to, because I'm bringing the information for you. That's pretty much it. Questions in reference to chambers? Anybody ever been involved in a chamber?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1? Wow. 2? So I'm telling you, you will grow your business significantly because it's about, as I say, connecting the dots. And you know, in life, in business, in life, they say it's who you know or what you know. Well, what's the other side of that?
Who knows you? Who knows you?
Who you know? Who knows you? If they don't know you, how are you gonna? You can know everybody, but if they don't know you, you don't take the time to make sure they know you. And so that's what I do as a chamber. I make sure they know you. I have members. The other day, I met with Lennar. I'm not going to give you why, but anyway, I had 6 of our members in a meeting with Lennar. How do we do business with Lennar? I'm coming in with the president, talking about how do we get people to painters, electricians, block layers, so on and so forth, pavers, anything. But that's what we do. We make sure that you are in the room even when you're not in the room. Questions? I got to run back to my garden. Questions? No questions? Ready for questions? Chamber, write it down, m-dcc.org. m-dcc.org. You know, you don't have to put the www there anymore. I always used to say that, but that's a given. www. So it's m-dcc.org or 305-751-8648. And speaking about police officers, we're actually, as a chamber, we're having coffee with the police at McDonald's on 80-something in Biscayne in a couple of weeks. So it's about engaging with the community. Yes, sir. m-dcc.org. And the phone number 305-751-8648. And we actually have a down south, because Miami-Dade County is a big county. And you know, I was down south at the Moss Center the other day, 211th and off of US 1. And I was saying, you know, sometimes it takes an hour to get from there to Miami Gardens. They were like, oh, it takes sometimes 2 hours, depending on the traffic. And you go from here to Palm Beach in an hour, right? No traffic. So we are in a very big county, so we started in a committee. It's the Miami-Dade Chamber South Committee that focuses on down south. So we were, like I said, we were there. This month is Black Business Month, and there's a lot of things going on. We had an event last Wednesday down south. That's why I'm running back up to Miami Gardens. We had a thing on nonprofits. We do have, as I mentioned, nonprofits that are members as well. So, and if you ever have an opportunity to talk to Willie Logan, he spoke the other day at our nonprofit event. Just because you're a nonprofit doesn't mean you should be making money.
That's right.
Okay? Nonprofits make money. As a matter of fact, Willie's budget is $13 million a year, something like that. And he makes a lot of money. He's been doing a lot of great things in this community for many years. So, any other questions?
All the chambers of North Miami is the same ones.
There's the North Miami Chamber, there's Key Biscayne Chamber, there's the North Miami Beach Chamber, there's the Asian American Chamber. So a lot of people are members of multiple chambers because you get to meet different people. You get to open up different doors that you never would have opened.
Where are you located?
We're at Barry University right now. And again, about relationships, we were a part of the Liberty Square development when the RFP came out to build. Are you familiar with Liberty Square? So when the RFP came out, there were different developers that had teams that bid to win that contract. The chamber was on the team of Related won the contract. The point I'm saying that about relationships, because of that relationship, they are going to build out a 3,500 square foot incubator for us to help businesses grow. And that'll be opening up probably spring of 25, end of 24. But again, it's relationships. And what we stood before the county supporting their bid to do that contract.
It's gonna be in Liberty City.
It will be at Liberty Square on 15th Avenue and 61st Street. Okay?
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
Phone number one more time.
305-751-8648. And you can go on our website, as I say, you can see everything about the chamber, what's going on, membership, events, etc. Okay? And it's important. Everybody got a website, right? Everybody in business here? Or thinking about being in business? You got a website?
Everybody's in business.
You got social media?
Well, quick question, who's in charge of your events, like the gala?
We actually just hired an event person. We had one a few years ago. We just hired an event person to do the day-to-day, but Jessica Modkins, hip rock star, she's our event for that particular event. That's our largest event. She handles that. All the others we basically do in-house.
Yeah, 'cause I have an event company, like a photo booth company, so
Okay.
wanted to.
Reach out.
Reach out.
Yeah, reach out. Okay, any other questions?
How can you help a small business?
How can I help? I just told.
How can you do that?
How can I be more helpful? Reach out, and my thing is, I said, I connect the dots. I will help, depending on what it is that you need, then we'll direct you to where you need to go. Okay? Yes, sir.
This phone number puts us in touch with you.
No, that's the office. 954-445-1226.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add, because Eric reminded me about Mr. Logan. You're very fortunate because right here in the city of Opa-locka, you have the community fund in North Miami-Dade, and they are like seconds away from becoming an SBA micro-lender. So if you need money for your business, maybe to set up that security system.
Speaking about money, a lot of money out there. Matter of fact, I mentioned Miami Foundation, they just gave a whole bunch of money away. And they're even giving away $500,000 to buy property to build a building.
Yes.
Or buy a building.
Yes.
And see, again, that's
right.
information we
That's
got.
what we just did.
Right, well, let me say this. The City of Opa-locka invited the Miami Foundation, me, the Beacon, over to an event at the train station. That's how I met all of you all here from the city. So your city is, what I heard, unlike in other cities, you know, your city government is thinking about you. That's what I heard. In fact, I wrote it down, that all of what Eric just talked about in terms of the power of a chamber, your city is committing to starting the chamber and funding the chamber. So, you know, Eric went through all the ways that a chamber, or at least his chamber, is funded. Well, your city is going to kickstart that for you. And I just want to endorse the idea of chambers for you, but he's so right when he says, and this is so true about so much, you get out what you put in. If you engage in this new chamber that's going to start here, you can find out, like, so no doubt your chamber will have a Miami Foundation here again, because your city had them here even without a chamber, to find out how you can access money. And what's great, again, going back to the SBDC or SCORE, listen, the Miami Foundation is giving away. I was stunned when I heard it here in the city of Opa-locka at that event I'm talking about, that they're going to give you money to help you buy property. I don't know if you've noticed, property values in Miami-Dade County are through the roof. And if you're renting your space, I just urge you to look at buying, because SBA has loan programs to help you purchase real estate, and all you need is 10% of the value of the property to get in. It's a 30-year note. I mean, that's stretching out the cost of that property a long time. And real estate ownership is one of the fastest ways to gain wealth in this country. Most people have their wealth tied up in their homes, right? And the property value is just going to keep going up. And so I just urge you to stay engaged with the cities. When the chamber jumps off, stay engaged with, you know, your police force, because I heard you say it makes a difference if they know who you are. I heard Eric say, it's not enough that you know me, I need to know you. But listen, I'm one person. Look how many of you all there are. Thank God I remember this brother from when we were at that thing, right? I'm just saying, it is very easy for me in South Florida. My office, we cover everything south of Orlando. Everything south of Orlando. It is very easy for them all, but you want to be remembered. So let me just tell you a quick story, and then I'll let you get back to your program. About the value of someone knowing you. Remember I told you my husband has his own law practice, right? He's a litigator. He had this big case, let me think. Okay, right, he had this big case against a big law firm, two of them, because there were two other folks, right? And just my husband, I mean, he is good at what he does, on the planet for this, right? But my husband has kept his head down, working all these years. And so one of the attorneys for the other side two defendants, right? Other side started asking around, who the heck is this Robert Harris? I don't know who this Robert Harris is. Who's the? Asking around. Nobody in the legal community. But this guy, who was the head of the bar, Florida Bar Association for the whole state, started asking around, who's this Robert Harris? Who's this Robert Harris? Nobody knew my husband. But one guy knew my husband. And he himself is a kicked up lawyer, famous in town. And for some reason, I don't remember now how that man knew my husband. And that man told the opposing lawyer, the head of the Florida Bar Association, he's a good guy. That changed everything. Suddenly, that guy got on my husband's side, and they ganged up on the other guy and won the case, right? Nobody knew my husband except this one guy. And that one guy made the difference. You cannot sit in your business all day, every day, grinding it out. I know you gotta do that, but you gotta get out. You gotta lift your head. You gotta get to know people. And not just be getting to know people to see what's in it for you. Try to be of service to others, and that will come back to you. So I just want to put that out there. I desire to know who you are. There are a whole lot of y'all and only one of me. So if you wrote down my email address and you reach out to me, I cannot tell you how popular I am. Please put in the subject line, Opa-locka. Okay, because that's gonna get me past all the cybersecurity. But don't spam me. Please don't do that.
Jobs today at a better price, those kind of things. So we have addressed that opportunity also. They have also talked about, making sure that we have those options available to us so that people can improve their ability to react with special situations that are going on. For instance, the feather banner signs on the small poles that just stand straight up, that's another option that people were interested in having. Another thing is they wanted to have banner signs that could be on for longer than our current standards talk about. What I'm here to get from you today is any suggestions or additional comments that you have about how to help you and your business adjust our sign code to help you do business better. That's what I'm interested in. So what I wanted to do is give you the information that has already been stated by businesses and have you include any comments that you can or suggestions about how you would like us to help you do business better. This is a summary of what previous workshops have addressed. And so, as you read, you might support the same things that they have said, but what I'm looking for is any additional comment that might talk about changes that you think need to be a part of what our sign code addresses. So I don't want to belabor the point, because what we need is your input.
What's the current cost for the monument signs?
I've been told 10,000 or more.
Yeah, it's up there.
10,000 or more. What I wanted to also, while you're writing, the reason the sign code is available is because there are certain types of signs that become nuisances in the way that they do business, and they also say something about the business. If you're in business, there should be a part of your business plan that's allocated for signage. You should not be in business if you don't want to advertise that you're in business. Just like you shouldn't be in business if you don't have a website. It's just certain things that are a natural part of your business. What we don't want is for a business to open and they
paint a sign on the wall. They paint the name of their business on the wall. It's not lighted. It's not done by permits. It's not formatted according to city code. It follows no standards. The business next door does the same thing also. We don't want that. We want your business to showcase the fact that you're in business. And so some standards need to be there. So what I wanted to do was also, while you're writing, I'm almost done. This is what we don't want. This is what we don't want. That's what we want to avoid. We want you to identify your business through a standard means that the law provides for, and we want you to tell us how to improve on that. How about this one? That's what we want to avoid.
Now, what's the issue with both the photos and
The issues are, most times, the business paints their signs on the walls, and or when they want additional signage, they just throw something out in the right of way. See this? See the clutter? See the disorganization?
And while he's showing, let me just make this statement. Your sign is literally a reflection of your business. If you have a nice professional sign, people will expect it to be a professional business. Right. But if you have a sign that looked like it was just put up the other day, or if you get a banner sign and it's kind of halfway hanging there or not totally attached, it gives off an aura to say, that person doesn't really care about their business. They just wanted to put something up just to put something up to say they're in business. And what we're also finding out is that in a lot of cases, when they've done these particular painted on signs and things of that nature, they don't have their license, they don't have their business plan, they don't have a lot of documentation in place. It's like they just woke up one day, they signed a lease, and they said, I'm in business. And we know that's not how businesses operate. So we want to basically be able to set up some standards as it relates to the signage that not only reflects your business, but also reflects how we as the city embrace your business. So we have to have some standards. So we're looking to get some, input from you all as to what the barriers are right now and how we can overcome those and look at multiple ways of producing signage.
Has anyone in here ever had code compliance cite your signage?
Yes,
And if so, for what reason?
because I had a small sign. I was new. I had a small sign put it outside so that way they know my business, because no one has sign except the restaurant.
Okay.
I don't know the name, but it was basically a pole sign that kind of had the now leasing thing on it.
Mm-hmm.
I was told that wasn't something that.
Okay.
But it was professionally done.
Okay.
And he told me, he just come twice. The first time he says, you can't have a sign. And I said, how are they gonna know if there's a new business if I don't have a sign?
Right. Legitimate question.
Right.
Totally important. Can I ask a question?
Please.
And I apologize, because I know I was over here talking while you were talking. But I love those pictures, or, to help people understand what's right and not right. Is that on your website? Yeah?
You can.
Right? Oh, I was thinking, I would just go ahead and paint on the side. Oh, no, that won't work. And that helps people, right? Because she knows enough to know, I need a sign. She doesn't know what kind of sign is
or what the standards are.
I understand. But make it simple, right? Because, I hate to admit this about myself, but I don't like to read instructions or too many details. That's just me. So if there's too many words, I might not read them. But if you give me good looking pictures, right? Then I can immediately see what the issues are. Okay. You know, that would help.
Because the property that I am, we have a pole.
Okay.
I even went to the city, I asked all my neighbors if they're interested to put their names. Because we have a pole right there by the landscaping. And the city had told us no. I told me no. We need I have to get a permit for our side. But the permit is beyond my price.
How much was the permit?
If I'm not mistaken, it was like $4,000.
For a permit?
And then I was like, if that's the case,
But who told you that?
I went to New York for the.
Okay, so.
Opa-locka permit is like 700. I got my side, it's like, I had to pay like 680, 700, like that, for the permit.
What type of sign you got?
I got I'm a clothing business. I got might do a sign, talking about the building.
That's for the upper,
Yeah,
for the lighting.
yeah,
I have
yeah.
that. But
The
I'm
wall
talking
sign.
about
Yeah, well,
the,
stand up tall, the big one.
the big one. I have that too. That's
Okay.
what I
Yeah.
came across from this one, and to conclusion of this one, but I had needed, because there's a pole right by us that showed us the street, because we're in the like driving way. On 141, 20,
A lot of that got to do with the
Right there.
landlord. Got to get on the landlord. A lot of that.
Right in
The
27,
billboard that-
by Sylvia-
you want all the
Sylvia
companies,
Cafe,
if you in the
Sylvia
plaza,
Restaurant.
in the plaza,
So you see that
you
big
can't do
pole?
that. You gotta go to the landlord and
That's
make
the
do
only
that. You
way
gotta
to
force
do
it.
it.
Everybody gotta get together and sign that community.
Yes.
And then, like, you sign a paper, and then you go to the man, look at man, you want this thing, because we paying, you paying your rent. And that's, a lot of that fall on them. On that part, but they don't really follow the employees. On your side, they do. When they talk about like outside on their property, they follow the landlord. They have to do that. You gotta force them to do that.
And
They do.
he raised an excellent point, because in a lot of cases, you as a tenant.
You won't know that.
Are very limited as to what you can do.
Right.
And
You know that.
unfortunately, the landlord's not gonna tell you what the standards are. In some cases, they don't even know themselves. So it's almost an abyss as to how you go through the process, how do you learn how to put a sign up, what type of signs are acceptable or permitted within the city. And then it's the economy of the cost of the sign itself. So we know signs are expensive, especially if you're gonna do anything dealing with electric. You gotta have, you gotta get the plans, you gotta get them permitted, you gotta have an electrician come out and do the work, you gotta have a contractor out, come and install it. It has to go through a series of inspections. So there's a whole lot of stuff that's involved with just getting a sign, and that's from our particular standard. One thing that we are looking at, we're looking at opportunities where instead of doing electrical signs, maybe you can do a sign that's made out of vinyl that can be attached to the wall, or some typical wall sign. We're looking at that as an option. Matter of fact, there's a sign company that on 27th Avenue in another municipality that I pass by every day. They actually did a mural wrap around their building to basically show that they can do vinyl wrapping of murals as a form of signage for their business. And this just happens to be a sign company to show what other products that they are producing to serve as signage. So we're looking at that as an option to be added within our ordinance as well. But we would like to see, you may know of some other types of signs that we're not aware of, that you've seen in other locations, and you say, well, can we do this? Is this something that will be applicable? Is this something that your code would allow us to do. We need to know those things so we can make those particular modifications to our code.
Okay.
So one thing that I heard, and Ms. Lawson, if you could take some notes for me, we want to reduce the fees for signs. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's not the fees, that's probably the cost
Okay.
of the plans and the.
Well, he said that his
Yeah.
permit fee was $600 or $700, right?
Is it 100 or 1,000? 100? Oh, 100. You say 1,000 though?
But the sign itself, he's talking about the self.
She's probably
He's talking
talking about
about
the cost of the sign and the
Yeah.
permits and everything all in one.
Permit itself, that's
Yes.
the sign.
Because
But
it
he's
was
just talking
never
about the
signed
permit.
before.
I was just talking
I
about
want to look at
Permits.
that. The next
We getting
thing,
top.
if the cost of monument signs are so expensive, what alternatives can we offer the business community that doesn't want to get these monument signs?
Well, one suggestion that we've already started to discuss and plan for is for the continuance of pole signs, because a lot of those businesses that we're asking for monument signs, they could resurrect the pole sign. This lady's pole sign that she was talking about, probably we would get the permit approved if they were going to go back and redo an old pole sign.
So we
And
need
so
to.
if we start to say that we're going to allow pole signs and provide those standards, then the pole is already there, she just needs to.
What are some of the guidelines we want to provide and change the law regarding the pole signs?
Just the standard, how big, how tall,
Okay.
that kind of thing.
So we're at a review of the, removing the prohibition against pole signs. LDR, you have here LDR?
Land development.
Oh,
Yes.
Land development
That's the zoning code.
of the code.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
The pole sign, that's can you describe that for me? I'm not sure. Pole sign.
Okay, who's the best one? When you go to Burger King, that's a monument sign, but years ago, that same sign was higher, and it was at the top, that's a pole sign.
At gas stations?
Gas stations used to be very high too.
Okay, do you have options for blade signs?
What kind?
Blade signs, I've seen, at least in Miami, they're being used a lot, and it's like, you know, it's like a perpendicular, it comes out of the facade.
Like a flag.
You can see it, so it's like a blade, they call it blade sign.
Yeah, it has a pole on it?
It doesn't have a pole, it goes to the wall.
It's
So it would
attached to
be
the wall.
in your
It's
business,
attached
so
to the
if you're
wall.
walking down the street, you see it sticking out, you see the logo of the business.
Put that on.
But what would you do for a business that's in a plaza that don't have a pole, that don't have a picture? Well, she was talking about, you don't have a picture.
They can still
You know what I'm
put
saying?
signs.
You can't build any property, because
You can still do the wall sign.
They can do the wall sign.
Y'all do that triangle thing no more? Y'all don't allow that, the triangle, the triangle, that shit. The triangle.
So not- so-
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah, the
sign.
sign.
Is that a wet sign?
Yeah.
That's one you can bring out every day and take back
Yeah,
in.
the spring, clothes, something like that. They don't allow that no more?
You've been talking about it.
You might even consider that, because people in the plaza, you know what I'm saying, not really so much, they got their own building.
Well, tell me, are there a number of tenants within your plaza? Okay, usually the landlord has the ability to make one marquee sign and put everybody
That's
on.
what I was telling you, that was talking about the first time, that was plugged up, that part right there, I was saying that, you know, since you don't have it, they don't let you do that, I'm actually do that.
So you want to do the same?
I don't wanna do it, I got my billboard, I'm just saying, the people who don't have it, get that, that's.
That's a possibility,
You know,
yeah.
I got my stuff already.
Yes, sir.
Number 12, can you clarify that?
Most, the current sign code talks about using banners, and they give you a specific amount of time and the number of times per year.
Okay.
We're talking about increasing that so that you can make it more personable for the number of times you have events, for sales that you're having often, for particular reasons that you need to advertise. And also within the code, it talks about only having banners for openings, closings, and special events.
What is the limit to the sign, if you do allow it to have it on your business, what is the limit? And if it is, then what if you say that you put one up there, and go to 45 miles, and you could have it, What is the length of that? You only have for a week, a month, day?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Hour?
With the sandwich signs, with the sandwich signs, I think what we've been talking about is sandwich signs need to come out when you start doing business for the day and go in.
But it is allowed.
It's not allowed.
It's not allowed.
That's why we're talking.
Okay, recommendation.
Yes, sir.
And if I could just provide some history on this. The reason that those particular signs are not presently allowed, in some cases, people would leave the signs out overnight, weeks at a time, months at a time. In some cases, they would chain it down so that it wouldn't get airborne, because a lot of these signs were very lightweight.
Yeah.
And they end up being a
Wood.
projectile
They would, yeah.
in a windstorm situation. And you know, we have windstorms like all the time now. So it was more of a safety concern that those particular type of signs have been prohibited.
And for clutter.
Hey, Mr. Lee,
Yes.
quick question. I mean, I think for going through the signage code and going through all of the process for a small business is like going through the bids, right? There's so many steps, and I think that is the difficult thing. And I'm curious, are there any companies that deal with signage in the city of Opa-locka that somebody as a small business could go and say, help me out here, and they know all the signage requirements that you could recommend that they could partner up with? Because if a small business comes and what do I do with the sign? I mean, we deal with codes all the time, so we know how to read them, but there's
They
so
have to
much.
engineer for their
Yeah.
sign, like that's
So-
not a simple thing. to
Yeah,
figure
so
out.
are there companies that you would say, you know what, go to X, Y, and Z, or is it that you don't?
What I would suggest is when you decide to get signage, go to a sign company.
And they know.
Yeah.
When you hire them, they will come to the city, ask for a copy of our code, and they'll make sure that what they give them as a sign follows what the code allows.
I guess I'm asking the person that doesn't even know a sign company, is there like a specific company?
We're not,
that-
as a city, we're not able to endorse it.
Okay, that was my question.
Google, signing company.
Okay, yeah.
When you get the list, call all of them. Get estimates. Make sure that they know what they're doing. Then hire somebody. That's what I would suggest, because I think that's the best way to do it.
And as a piggyback to to this conversation, that's one of the reasons having a Chamber of Commerce is so important. Because that can be your network of finding out who's doing signs for what particular companies. Now, I can tell you, we've had some new signs coming to the City of Opa-locka following the new code. So can I tell you what company did it? I don't know, because I didn't go through that whole permitting process and say, okay, this particular company did this particular company. I don't know. But that's something that a Chamber of Commerce can play a major role in helping you as far as the networking of that.
Is there a distinction between temporary and permanent signage right now?
Banners are temporary. Political signs are temporary. House for sale, temporary. If you're operating a business, the sign you put up is going to be a permanent sign.
Dimensions, types, things like that.
The dimensions are within the code, but for the most part, banners, which is what we're also looking at revamping and giving new opportunities for maybe the standing feather, as opposed to the vinyl banner that goes across, and also increasing how long they can be there and what reasons you can use to bring them out. Those are things we're considering.
The standing feather, that's the one
Yes,
that's
sir.
folded and flaps.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I would add, that would include the balloon.
Can you do that again?
No. Only once per show. That would be an additional signage opportunity that would, people would want to have. But you don't want that guy doing that in front of your building until the flaps on his arms are already ripped off, because you never bring it in. It's every day, so there has to be maintenance.
If you're hired, you're just saying you're looking for workers. It's a banner okay to put out or no, or let's just say you're looking for new hires.
Like a promo sign, you said.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think we should add that.
yes, that would be something we would
Yeah,
would
that's
like to put out.
But temporary, that's a temporary, you're hiring,
Yes.
you need 5 guys, you need 10 guys.
Yeah.
You know, once you hire
And it shouldn't be a
everybody, you
problem.
don't
Yes.
need it.
Yes,
Yes, we should definitely add that.
yes.
Can you go over for the permanent signs with the business name on it, what the city requirements are? To see if they're okay with that, or if they want to amend it in any way?
What's funny is, that's not what we usually have a problem with. But the signage is based on the square footage of the front of your building. And based on that, most of the signs are, what, 12 by 16? 12 by 16,
Most of them, the maximum height of the
Like
signs are
4
like
feet?
4 feet. And
by
the
16.
width of it is usually, and it's dependent on how big the frontage of your business is. It should take no more than like, I believe, 10%, 15% of. I'll follow up with you on that.
So,
Yes.
a big complaint that I get in my office is that businesses are being told that our code requires lighted signs. Walk us through that, let's have a discussion about that.
Okay.
Is that what's being told to the residents, and is that actually in our code?
Okay, it is in our code for particular places. If the business is on a major corridor, 27th Avenue, 22nd Avenue, 135th Street, 42nd Avenue, their signs are supposed to be lighted. Okay? If you're in the industrial areas, off of the major thoroughfares, you don't have to light it. CRA area is not where we require the lighting, it's based on what street frontage.
How would businesses know that?
That will probably end up being discussed upon permit.
Or upon citation?
Yeah. Well, that's if they get it without a permit.
Okay, so.
Like I said, for those people who go, they lease out a space, pay that first, last security or whatever other, and they get the utilities, and then they just open. They don't go through the licensing process for operating a business, which was where you will probably learn, if you're gonna have a business at that location, you need to have a sign. And these are the requirements for the signage.
They would be given that, so, we need to interject somewhere in the process where somebody that is doing the right thing gets that information immediately. Because, we're sitting at it from a government standpoint, but from a business standpoint, it's all about dollars and cents, right? If I know that I rent my space on 27th Street, I gotta spend $5,000 more on a sign, and I'm looking at another place on 147th, I might choose the 147th if I know in advance. So we need to create a process of how we get that information out. One, I recommend putting it on the website.
Yeah.
Two, I think that part of the licensing process, we need to create a package that goes to all new business owners, detailing in very simple language, not like our code, but in very simple language, what these requirements are. So a business owner that's opening up a business in Opa-locka can get that package, run through it, and immediately know this is going to be my cost. This is going to be the process.
I have a question about the illuminated sign. I work with signage with different municipalities and do the research for people and stuff like that. And there's two ways a sign can be illuminated. Either within the sign has a light in it, or you could have a sign that's on the wall and then you put light on it. Doing the second option is a lot more economic than buying a sign with the integrated. Are they allowed to do the second option, or does it have to be integrated?
Yes.
Okay.
We're actually
You can do
looking at
both.
doing the
Yeah.
second option as a part of having vinyl sign.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's a very different economic intuition, so as long as the second option is included.
That's one way to
it's more
reduce your
viable.
costs. You're
Yeah.
right.
just want to go back to what the city manager said about the occupational license process. In the occupational license itself, it's an application, right? In that application, is there anything that asks about signage right now, do you know?
No.
No.
Yeah, because that would then trigger, then, okay, if there is license, checkbox, see section 2, which speaks about signage. And that could, you know, just as a thought, to kind of formalize the process.
Yes.
What else could we do to make this process easier and less expensive?
Timing.
What do you mean by timing?
I remember when I started opening my business, it took me at least 4 months to get my inspection. I had to go to the city every day, sit down there to get a different inspection.
I want to think about what she says. The process of permitting a sign should be handled different than when you're permitting a building that takes a long time. I think for businesses, the speed of that permit is a big deal. And I think sometimes it takes just as long as any other type of permit when it's just a sign that they need to announce their business.
Okay.
That could be something that would be very helpful for businesses.
Okay.
It's going to be an online process?
We're putting everything online. Yeah, so for those of you that are in the development space, that is another thing. Everything for all of the, we're starting off, we're doing 3 departments that's going online. Building and license, community development, and code compliance. Building and license will be up first. So there's actually a state statute that requires all building and license departments to be online. That's a state of requirement that the City of Opa-locka has just been out of compliance with forever. But we're putting now everything online to where if you have any development projects in the City of Opa-locka, you'll be able to, with a click of a button, find out the status, find out when your permit's going to be issued, find out if there's any fees owed, find out when an inspector's coming out, it'll all be online. Okay? Yeah, and that's going to happen in the next 90 days. Then we're moving over to community development, so you'll be able to look at all the zoning issues if you've done
one that everyone has literally complained about, saying that our colors, and these are dated, I can tell you that, this is from 2080. 2000.
Yeah, 1980. In the 80s,
so we know colors are just like fashion. They change like every year and a half to 2 years, and they come out with a new color, even though it's the same color, just renamed. Or they come out with something that's a little bit flashier, a little bit more colorful. So we know that there's an issue from the business community as it relates to these particular colors being utilized. What we like to hear from you as we go through this exercise, and this is probably not something that's going to be resolved today, I'll tell you that now. But we need to have suggestions, recommendations, whatever idea comes to your head as to how we can create our own color palette for commercial property.
Is that outside?
The exterior, yes, the exterior of the building. Now, this is one thing that we're thinking about as it relates to what we have and what we're trying to move forward. We already know these colors are adopted, and for those businesses that choose to utilize these particular colors, we're looking at an opportunity where you can select from what we have and paint your building. And as far as the cost for the paint permit, we're looking at grass that'll be free. You will have to get a permit, but there will be no cost for the permit. Now, if you want to do something beyond this particular palette, then you will have to be subjected to a review. There's a fee associated with the review. We don't know what that fee is going to be. You will probably have to provide illustrations of what you want the building to look like so that we can review it and make a determination whether that's suitable for the City of Opa-locka. And we're looking at trying to do this from an administrative standpoint. So that everybody would be on the same page. The manager would sign off on it. It'll be an administrative review. You get your permit, paint your building the color that you wish for it to be. And we're looking at it from that particular standpoint, so that we don't have to necessarily say, oh, we think the color palette should be gray. We think the color palette should be black. We think the color palette should be a brick color, or a red color, or an orange, or a blue. Because when you go to the paint store, and I don't know the last time y'all went to the paint store, I just did a rehab on the property, and going to the paint store is like going into a rainbow of this. There are so many colors. And then they break it down. What particular color is fashionable right now? Or if you're in a historic community, they have a whole listing of historic, what they recommend is historic colors. And that changes every 2, 3, 4 years. So to not take us through a long exercise, because like the manager said, we are under a time constraint. We would like for you to look at what we have, but if you're looking to go beyond this particular paint color, to consider that we would have to go through a review process. Now, I probably stole some of Randall's thunder, but I'm gonna let him go and just kind of talk about the reasoning for these particular colors so that you'll have a better understanding why this particular paint chart exists. Randall.
Not just because although this was adopted in 2004, it does go back to 1980, pastel was on Miami Beach. It was hugely successful. So successful, I don't know if you were around in the 80s, but the billboards were stupid. There was a huge controversy back when color was built. People swore up and down that it was pink, but the government computer did a paint analysis to effectively determine what was the color of the building, and it's the dark orange pink that it is today. So even by 1985, when the building was pressed, pastel was already influencing people's thinking about what was historic. And of course, in the 1920s, this palette was created to focus on black and white. Those were of color for us. So there was no empirical determination of what were the appropriate colors when it started focusing on Opa-locka. It was really pastels that influenced this color palette. So there's nothing sacred about it. It might come as a surprise for the city planner to say that, but there is nothing sacred about these colors. So I think we want to kind of think more openly about what palette we might have in commercial industrial.
Another question.
Quick question. Not a question, but in relation to the process of this. Okay, if you look at Opa-locka's architecture, it's similar to Miami Shores, right by the Miami International Airport. Similar to, Miami Springs. Miami Springs, there's some architectural elements defining coral gables, coconut groves. Why don't we kind of just look at those type of samples of colors? Because those neighborhoods also reflect what Opa-locka could become to a certain extent as far as architectural design. Just a thought. I don't know if it's something that you guys are pushing.
I think we agree that this palette is in line with what we see. You got a problem. No problem. So I think, this is close to appropriate for our residential buildings, especially. Right.
I'll never want that.
But the city has expanded, incorporated areas that were part of the city, really don't have to use the 1920s. So we need to use some flexibility. What is more flexible? We need to get on how to expand and grow.
My suggestion is these colors are good for residential areas, but like the gentleman was saying, if you go around Sion in the city of Opa-locka and you go to the commercial main streets, you notice that the color, you can move it. What is the most modern colors are coming and joining and open up new businesses. We all know, developed, some of them are recently already developed, and we got new people coming into the city. And these pastel colors are great for residential area. When it comes to heavy traffic area, the color scheme is very light. The one that we want to show modern, not color. So we have to step up a little bit and give a little credibility to
That's what I have to everybody. Bring in photographs for colors that we should be.
Yeah, because some, like, newer redesigned areas, they'll have dark colors mixed with woods and metal and so forth in their commercial spaces. It's a really nice color.
I got you.
I have an example.
I got you. I wanted to bring up what happened with Romo's and how it was presented to me. You know, he actually had examples of other cities on commercial properties had permitted that same color. So what do we think about? Because it doesn't sound like everybody came and say, I want this color, I want this color, I want this color. Why don't we keep the color palette that we have now, but for commercial properties, we allow you to request a permit for any color you want, distribute it, and then, you know, providing the reasons like Mr. Ramos did of why he wants to do this color, and we have that process separate. Is that something that you guys think?
I think that would be a good thing.
Because we're a colorful city. Look at the police officer badge. It's colorful.
Yes, Chief Otley is quite festive.
Hey, I tell you, they're doing a good job. I own a lot of property in the city, and you guys are really doing a good job. And you guys, you call them, and you guys are out there right away. So, I don't know if anybody thinks different, but it's not like the way it used to be. That's not.
We're going every day, so we're going to step up to the neighboring cities. That's the main.
We want to bring Opa-locka to the future.
Absolutely.
Fresh.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely. That's the goal. That's the goal.
That's
what
it.
we're gonna do.
That's the goal.
So it sounds like that's an option that the community development department was looking at, and it works for businesses here. So we'll allow for businesses. For residents, I think we need to, well.
We have a separate
That's a whole separate conversation. But for businesses, we're not gonna change the color palette, but we're gonna allow you to request any color change that you want. Because every business is gonna be different, right? Okay.
Are we gonna get the same service as far as the permits?
No.
Did you
Nope.
say?
Nope. No service for you. You're using up all your services. No, of course.
Listen, you have to hire a professional to paint the business if you know how to paint it yourself.
Now that's now you're talking about commercial property and having a layperson paint commercial property. You have thoughts you want to provide feedback on that?
Isn't there a permit for that? To paint or no?
Well, I'll tell you
There's a permit
this.
to allow you to paint it.
Well, let me answer. I can tell you where we are right now. You probably may not be aware. When all these issues started coming up to my office, I suspended all of the enforcement of paints. So that's, you know, until we get this sorted out, there's no permitting for paints right now. We're going to deal with that on the back end, and there's no citations for it right now. So that's why we're here, to kind of have this conversation and work through it, and then move forward from there. I'm looking for discussion, but I don't know if I feel comfortable having lay people paint commercial property. So I will defer to the opinion of Mr. Day. And if you want to have a one-on-one with me about that, I'm also open to that, but that just seems a little bit out there to me.
Because usually you're dealing with a large structure.
Yeah. Because even the paints is
Yeah.
Yeah, even the paints you can't take in most cases, you can't take a residential paint for and splash it the cost of a skyscraper. It won't work. You have to use very special type of equipment, you have to use special different grades. yeah, I would want a professional.
And then we're getting to liability as well.
Well, yeah, and then the business owner can be like, well, when the insurance company says, we're not gonna pay for this damage, everybody's gonna, then they're gonna say, well, the city didn't require that, and, it could get into a lot of issues.
Liability.
Yeah, a lot of liabilities, that I don't feel comfortable with that particular scenario. It's a great question.
That's not available online either.
It actually was, we're updating our website right now to meet the ADA requirements, and this didn't read the way it needed to. So once we get the updated version on our website, the information will be back on.
And we're completely redoing the website because you don't have to put it out there like that.
And even though these covers date back to the early 2000s,
it wasn't being.
to be more current with today's color category.